Hi, everybody. My name is Adrian Granados. I'd like to talk a little bit about some of what I've been doing for the past months and what's next in terms of tools. For those who don't know me, I develop tools, applications for mostly for Mac, for troubleshooting, validating Wi-Fi networks. So let's just start. First, I'd like to talk to you about some of the integrations that I've done in the past months. One of the things I like the most is to be able to work with other tools, other vendors, and bring everything together. So one of the things I did recently was to add support for the Wi-Fi Coconut from Hack5. This is a device that is designed to sniff the whole 2.4 gigahertz band. Now, how useful is that in the real world? Now that many people say, well, where is 5 gigahertz and all that stuff? But for IoT and those type of scenarios, I think this is still useful. The other tool that I integrated with Wi-Fi Explorer, which is our scanner, is the 6 gigahertz spectrum analyzer from Ocean. We also implemented remote spectrum analysis using a WLPC, meaning that you can connect a MetaGig WiSpy or an Ocean Wi-Fi Clarity into your WLPC, and when you are doing a remote scan, you get data of the spectrum analysis too. You can also use, for those who have an Android phone, there is this app called Analytics. Well, I guess that's how it's pronounced, but that you can connect as a remote sensor with Wi-Fi Explorer. So the Analytics does the scan and can scan for 6 gigahertz network if your phone supported, has a 6 gigahertz radio, and then it sends back the data to Wi-Fi Explorer so you can display it in the tool. And we have added support for more AP names in Wi-Fi Explorer. AP name is a feature that many people find useful to identify, access points in the field. And I try to keep those up to date. And as soon as a vendor enables this feature or implements this feature, I add it to the tool. So in the past months, I have added support for Arista, Alcatel, Extreme Networks, some forum Nokia vendor-specific element, and Fortinet. So to just talk a little bit more in detail of the Wi-Fi Coconut, as I said, this is a device that has 14 radios, so it can scan all the 14 channels in the 2.4 gigahertz radio band simultaneously. But one of the things I like to stress about this integration in AirTool is that AirTool has a collection of features, like you can do packet slicing, you can automatically open Wireshark, or even do the live capturing Wireshark. You can upload your captures to other cloud services like CloudShark and Arista packets. And all those features are available when you use the Coconut or when you use your iPhone, because you can also capture from your iPhone. These are layer 3 packet traces, not layer 2, but it's still available. And the other thing is that it's all plug and play. You just plug it, and you don't need to install any drivers or anything. It just work. And sometimes you don't even know that that's available because until you connect the thing, it shows that option. But if it's not connected, then the tool remains the same as it is. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Then the Ocean Wi-Fi Clarity, as I said, this is a spectrum analyzer that now supports 6 gigahertz. And it has 4 modes you can work with in Wi-Fi Explorer. You can scan the 2.4 band, the 5 gigahertz band. You can do a dual band, which is do 2.4 and 5, then 2.4 and 5, and then just the 6 gigahertz band. The remote spectrum analysis, as I said, you connect your spectrum analyzer to the WLPC, and when you run the remote scan on Wi-Fi Explorer, you can choose to also start the spectrum analysis, and you get the data, both the Wi-Fi data and the RF data from the spectrum analyzer, and you display it in Wi-Fi Explorer. And at least for the WLPC, it's also plug and play. You just connect the thing, and it should work. The other big thing is support for Wi-Fi 6E. I have been working on this for almost 2 years. So I wanted to show you this timeline of all that has had to happen in order to have 6E working on the tools. We started doing some experimental support for Wi-Fi Explorer back in July 2021. And this was thanks to the work that we have been doing with the WLPC too. So some of you may not know, but I'm also part of the WLPC team. So we had a development board, Raspberry Pi development board, and IX210 to prototype the WLPC Pro, which was released last WLPC last year. So with everything, trying to get everything working together, the Explorer, the Pi, I also started doing some experimental support for 6 gigahertz. Then after the WLPC Pro was released, I released this little app for the iPhone to do captures from the WLPC Pro or any other Linux device that can be used as a sensor. Then, as I mentioned, I did the integration with the Wi-Fi, and also a byproduct of all this work was a plugin for Wireshark that enables you to connect to a Linux device or WLPC with a 6 gigahertz card and do remote captures as well. This was first implemented as a Python script that you had to install together with Wireshark, but then I ported that Python script to be part of Wireshark, and it was approved and released in November just last year, 2022. And all of this, when Apple released the Mac with 6E support just last month, I was very happy to see that the day I got it, I installed Wi-Fi Explorer, boom, I had 6 gigahertz scanning working already. Same for AirTool, just a few adjustments were needed, and Wi-Fi Signal also had support for 6 gigahertz. Now, the new Macs are here, and some of the tools that come with the OS have not been updated for 6 gigahertz. Like the wireless diagnostics, the sniffer, you cannot choose 6 gigahertz channels. It has no, I didn't, yeah, it's there. So you have the 5 gigahertz channel, then it says 6 gigahertz channels, but nothing below that, so there's no way to choose anything there. Then the airport command line utility doesn't have, command line interface doesn't have a way to distinguish between 5 gigahertz channels and 6 gigahertz channels or 2.4 gigahertz channels. There are some that overlap, like channel 1, channel 149 in 6 gigahertz. Those overlap with 2.4, so you don't know which one are you looking at. So having said that, we have you covered, because now, even though those tools don't support 6 gigahertz, fully support 6 gigahertz, we do. So you have Wi-Fi Explorer, you can do apti scan, passive scan. There is also this 6E feature. Well, it's not new to 6E, but it's been used in 6E called multiple BSSID, which is used to announce a set of SSIDs in one beacon. We have support for that. Then AirTool 2, you can capture any channel. Wi-Fi signal will display correctly the band and the channels. Another thing I wanted to mention is that with the first generation of Apple Silicon Macs, there was a bunch of issues in terms of scanning and capturing. Like, for example, data rates in the radio tab headers were missing. So you would get in the screenshot there, you can see 6.5 data rate, which is not actually a thing, but it was just because it was missing. I mean, it's not a thing for management frames. It was missing, and Wireshark was trying to do an estimate the data rate, and it was doing it incorrectly. Then I wasn't able to switch between channels across bands, all those things. That has been fixed with the new Macs. So the new Macs, I think they're pretty reliable now in terms of scanning, capturing, but they still come with some issues specific to 6 gigahertz. Like, for example, if you have, like I was saying, the multiple BSSID, when you click on the Wi-Fi icon to display the networks, the SSIDs that are being announced as part of the multiple BSSID, you don't see them there. So it's not parsing those SSIDs, only the SSID that is announced in the beacon. And if you are trying to find or scan for 6 gigahertz only SSIDs, it's not working on this new Mac. So it relies on the reduced neighbor reports. So you need that. You need to have that on 2.4 or 5 gigahertz in order to find 6 gigahertz networks. But you can, if this is the case, you can use Wi-Fi Explorer Pro in passive scan mode to find that network and still being able to, troubleshoot, analyze using your Mac. Now, this is going to be like a commercial. There is a tool that I have that I don't talk much about it because it's not Wi-Fi related, even though, when you are dealing with Wi-Fi networks, you're also dealing with wired and infrastructure and all that stuff. It's called Transfer. It's a standalone multi-protocol file transfer server, and it's supposed to replace or to be an alternative to other TFTP services, especially the one built in macOS, which I understand doesn't work very well, and it's a pain to actually get it to work. So I have this tool called Transfer. It supports TFTP, HTTP, FTP, and SFTP, IPv6 too. And you can use it to retrieve logs, update firmware from switches, controllers, all this stuff. So that's all the things I've been doing these past months. So what's next? So pretty much two big things. One is Wi-Fi Explorer for Windows. And the other one is a redesign of Wi-Fi Signal, which is a tool I have neglected in the past years, but I'm doing a new version of it. So Wi-Fi Explorer for Windows, I actually have a beta version now. An alpha version is it supports active scan mode with 6 gigahertz support. It has some basic columns. It has the spectrum charts you can see there, and some basic filtering. As you can see, it's going to look similar to the Mac version, so that's good in the sense that if you are used to the Mac version and need to use the Windows version, then finding the options, finding all the knobs is going to be easy. Then the documentation doesn't have to change that much too. And so next, I'm going to be trying to level the application to the standard version and then the Pro version that I have for Mac. Adding some advanced details, like this pretty much parsing the information elements, showing that information, the signals and timelines, saving, exporting, importing pickups, the ability to add custom columns, which is a nice feature in Wi-Fi Explorer Pro, ability to use remote sensors, and the integration with the spectrum analyzers that are supported right now in the Pro version in Mac. So at least for the standard version, which is the information elements parsing and some other features, I am hoping to have this ready late summer this year, and then later, maybe by the end of the year, have like a full Pro version that I can release. It's been fun working on Windows. I have to learn everything from scratch, but the nice thing is that 6 GHz scanning works, so we get that. And it's been working well, actually, for what I have done. And on Wi-Fi signal, it's going to be a redesigned user interface, taking feedback from the current Wi-Fi signal application with some updated information, new layout, new charts. I'll be trying to focus on roaming, monitoring roaming, and showing that in the interface now. And I want to make the interface flexible enough so you can choose what to see. So what you see there is a mock-up of the interface, but it's how it's going to look like. But the idea is that you should be able to add or remove some of the graphs and stuff in there. So if you don't have much space, or you are interested in some of the things but not others, then you get to configure it and and adapt it to your needs. You also do. I'm trying to work out some improved logging and offer mechanisms to collect those logs from multiple machines and aggregate those logs to be able to do more analysis on them. And I hope to have this ready late fall this year, or maybe by the end of this year. That's pretty much. If you have any questions, you can contact me, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have later today or tomorrow.